Erica, honey, I'm afraid the bread isn't that great. Could you do something about it? What do you mean not that great? Maybe we could get a better oven, dear. And I've seen some really nice ovens for sale nowadays. Alright, I'll talk to Mr. Stacy about it. My name is Erica Wilson, 35 years old. I'm a full-time Forex trader, working from home. I met my husband Ethan, who was 2 years older than me, at work. Back then, we were at a small mail-order business. Ethan was in the pet food department, while I handled customer calls for the cosmetic department. It was a tough workplace, and we'd often have to catch the last train home after working overtime. But there was one thing we looked forward to: the weekly drinks with the same group of coworkers after another late night. Back then, working overtime day after day, we had no real enjoyment in life. Although we made decent money, we had no time to spend it, and our only reprieve was our nightly drinking sessions. It was in these sessions that my husband, who was part of our group, and I started dating, and we got married 3 years ago. After our marriage, I quit my job and stayed home for a while. During this time, I discovered Forex, bought several books, gathered a ton of information online, studied a lot, and that's how I came to be a Forex trader. It wasn't easy to reach the point where I could make a decent income from it. I bought a computer for trading, opened a trading account, and spent several months studying Forex, practicing with demo trades, and trading small amounts of money. After a while, I managed to develop my own style, and I started earning consistently. However, my in-laws who live with us do not understand my job at all. Last year, my father-in-law retired. My in-laws were living on their own public housing, and my husband, thinking it would be hard for them to live on just their pension, invited them to live with us in our 3-bedroom condo. I pay for the rent for our condo. When I started Forex, my husband was working, and we were able to get by. And after I started making money from Forex, I took over the rent and living expenses. Dad! Mom! Erica is covering all of our living expenses, so please, feel at home. Erica, thank you so much. Erica, we appreciate it. And that's how our life with my in-laws began. I don't do any household chores at all. I have a housekeeping service that does everything for me. There's a woman named Mrs. Stacy who is always in charge, and she is a great cook and does all the other chores perfectly, which is a big help. I spend my time studying Forex and sharing my earning strategies on blogs and such, instead of doing housework. However, my in-laws don't like this. At first, when they moved in, they were modest and grateful, but after 2 months, they started complaining. Why doesn't the daughter-in-law do any housework even though she's at home? It's not a job to just sit in front of the computer all day. Forex is just gambling. Of course, they don't say these things directly to me, but I can tell they're nagging my husband about it. Since my husband doesn't have to pay rent or living expenses anymore and can spend his entire salary on himself, his attire has become flashy. He always wears custom-made suits, brand-name shoes, and bags. He has always loved fashion, and he seemed quite satisfied now that he can spend money on it. He used to be a buffer against my in-laws' complaints, but recently, that has changed. You're always glued to your computer, you don't wear makeup, and you only wear sweatpants. Isn't that terrible? Wait, what do you mean it's terrible? Do I need to dress up and put on makeup just to be at home? You might be okay with it, but it doesn't match me. What do you mean it doesn't match you? We're at home. What does it matter? It does matter. Don't you want to look cute for me? Cute? What are you talking about? Is that really necessary? Ever since we had that conversation, my husband has started complaining about me along with my in-laws. One day after dinner, when I was about to go to the bathroom, I overheard a conversation from the living room. What's with Erica? Is she making fun of us? She always has a bad attitude. Yeah, she's making fun of us. She thinks we're poor because we lived in public housing. That's right. I feel the same way. She doesn't do anything around the house because she wants to say I'm different. Anyone can do Forex. Erica studied a little bit and started making $20,000 a month. I can do it too. That's right. You can do it too. She's making money from gambling that anyone can do, yet is acting all high and mighty. I don't like it. And she's not even cute. I always wonder who she thinks she is. Even though I work from home, I always had breakfast with my husband before he left for work. He still works at the company we used to work at, so he comes home late. We both valued our breakfast time together as our time, but he started avoiding it, saying, "I'll eat breakfast on the way, I'm good," leaving without eating. My mother-in-law sneered at my husband's behavior. "Yeah, Ethan must be getting tired of a woman who doesn't fulfill her duties as a wife. It's only natural." Duties as a wife? Isn't it enough that Mrs. Stacy is doing all the housework perfectly? Talking about duties as a wife is so out of date. Out of date? We value old-fashioned customs. I was scolded a lot by my mother-in-law, too. What do you mean, scolded? Even if you don't do that, as long as the housework is done, that's enough, isn't it? I'm the one paying for it. Money? Do you think I'll keep quiet if you bring up money? For a little living expenses. My mother-in-law, who had been living without having to spend on living expenses thanks to me, seemed to be using money to socialize with other people of her age in our apartment building. I've noticed her buying and carrying expensive brand name bags on several occasions. My father-in-law, too, was pouring all of his pension into his golf hobby. I even saw a new set of golf clubs in our hallway. I was the one paying the rent and the living expenses. I wondered what on earth these people were doing. I had no choice but to put up with it as my in-laws had nowhere else to live. Around a month after Ethan stopped eating breakfast with me, he started going on business trips more frequently. He told me he was tasked with a new business development. He was considering importing LEDs from Korea, and his trip to Korea dramatically increased. He said he had another trip to Korea over the weekend. As Ethan was gone, I decided to go out for lunch with my friend, Lily, at a somewhat upscale Italian restaurant. We had once dined there with Ethan, but then I saw him there when he was supposed to be on a business trip to Korea. Lily and I were cheerfully drinking wine on the terrace seat when she said, "Isn't that Ethan?" As I turned around, I saw Ethan leaving the restaurant with a woman. That can't be him, right? He's supposed to be in Korea. Lily tried to brush it off, but it was unmistakably Ethan. He was seemingly spending the weekend with another woman while telling me he was on a business trip. The woman was petite and had a cute atmosphere. She looked to be in her early 20s, considerably younger than Ethan, who's 37. I remembered Ethan asking me, "Do you want to look cute for me?" It was apparent that Ethan was cheating, so I hired a private detective to investigate him on Monday. Lately, many packages addressed to my mother-in-law were being delivered. "Did you buy something again, Mother?" "Do I need your permission?" "No, that's not what I mean." It seemed that my mother-in-law had gotten hooked on online shopping and was buying even more brand name bags and accessories. There are so many fake products online, I wondered if she knew. Sure enough, one day when Ethan was at work and I was working in my room, she came to me and said, "I need you to take a look at something." "What is it?" "Come on!" She had opened a package in the living room. "I bought 5 bags because they were cheap, but they seem to be fake." You need to be careful when shopping online, especially for brand name items. Upon inspection, the items were obviously fake. I couldn't help but wonder how much she had paid for these fakes. What should I do about this? You should try negotiating a return with the seller. She tried to contact the seller but couldn't find their phone number. When she finally did, it was a disconnected number. She tried emailing them, but of course, there was no response. She ended up paying a total of $3,000. The e-commerce website looked legitimate at first glance. However, it had brand-named bags at ridiculously low prices. It was a bank transfer payment, so she couldn't stop it through her credit card company, and the site had a strict policy against cancellations. Mother, you need to be careful when buying brand-named items. If they're unusually cheap, they're probably fake. Think about that before impulsively buying because of the low price. You're so annoying! There seemed to be no point in talking to her, so I returned to my room to continue my work. On Sunday after dinner, my father-in-law suddenly told me to stop doing Forex. The day before, he went golfing with his friends from his old job and heard about Forex. "I heard that Forex is a scam. Are you tricking people to make money, Erica?" "What?" "I heard that they invite you, saying, 'Would you like to earn money with Forex? We won't let you lose,' and trick you into investing. Your Forex must be a scam too." "No, I'm not inviting anyone to invest." Do you think you can fool me just because I don't understand computers? No, I'm not fooling you. Do you think your father-in-law suspects you're doing fraud because you're earning money so easily? It's not easy. I've told you this several times. You're making all this money just by studying a little bit. Of course it's easy. Meanwhile, I'm grinding away at the company trying to develop new businesses. What? Are you telling me to quit Forex? If I do that, how are we supposed to afford anything? We won't be able to pay the rent. I can pay the rent, at least. They don't seem to see that our entire lifestyle here is made possible because I'm earning money as a full-time Forex trader. Instead, my in-laws and my husband just keep voicing their opinions. The next day, the results of the infidelity investigation I had commissioned for my husband arrived. As expected, he was guilty. He had been having an affair with a woman 12 years his junior, who was 25. She was a coworker, a woman who had joined the company after I resigned, though I didn't recognize her. However, it did seem like he had been to South Korea on business a few times. I spent a few days agonizing over the investigation results. How should I approach this? It's going to lead to divorce. That evening, after Stacy from the housekeeping service had made dinner and left, my mother-in-law broke the silence. Erica, we've talked it over with Ethan and your father-in-law. We don't like anything about you. We're going to live as a family alone. Please leave. My husband hadn't returned from work yet. We don't want to be supported by money earned through fraudulent means. We don't like your attitude, as if you know everything. We've decided this after discussing it with Ethan. Erica, we need you to leave. I felt oddly relieved. All right. The fact that my husband wasn't there meant that he had no feelings left for me, and I realized there was never any reason for me to look after these people in the first place. I packed my things that day and moved into a hotel for the time being. I was soon able to divorce. Having discovered my husband's infidelity, I was also able to demand alimony. I rented a one-bedroom apartment perfect for living alone and moved there. I transferred the lease of the original apartment to my husband's name. About 4 months later, I received a message from my ex-husband. He said he had something to discuss and wanted to come to my new apartment. When he arrived, he was accompanied by my former in-laws. I had a bad feeling about this. Erica, I'm sorry. Please live with us again. Suddenly, my ex-husband began crying. What? What's going on? Without lifting his head, my ex-husband said, We can't pay the rent of $4,000, and we're about to be kicked out. We have nowhere else to go. We're really in trouble, so Erica, please help us. What exactly happened? According to my husband, right after I left the apartment, he had imported special LED lights for use in factories and hospitals from a South Korean manufacturer as part of his new business venture, LED import sales. However, they turned out to be extremely defective. Factories that received deliveries reported that the sockets of the LED lamps were coming off, risking the bulb falling down, making them dangerous and unusable. All of the LEDs were returned. He tried to contact the South Korean manufacturer, but due to language barriers and an unclear contract, he was unable to return the items. The new business was a massive failure, leaving him with a huge loss. He was forced to resign. What on earth was he thinking? Then, deciding to become a full-time Forex trader himself, he bought a computer with the little savings he had left and started trading. But without proper study, he made a large trade and failed miserably. His savings were depleted in no time. My ex-father-in-law apparently had some savings left, but he tried to invest it in stock to increase it further. However, due to bad timing, he failed spectacularly. They couldn't afford the rent, didn't have the funds to move, and so they came to me, kneeling down. But we're already divorced, aren't we? Yes, we are, but please help us. I'm begging you. What happened to your cute girlfriend who was 12 years younger than you? Well, after I was fired from my job, I lost contact with her. Well, there's no reason for her to date a man who's been fired from his job. Erica, you're the only one for me now. Let's get remarried. Give me another chance. That's right, Erica. We realized we misunderstood a lot about you. We're really sorry. We sincerely mean it. Erica, I'm sorry too. I misunderstood what Forex trading was and wrongly accused you of scamming. I apologize, sincerely. I refuse. Erica, don't say that. Look, I was wrong, and I won't cheat on you anymore. That's right, Erica. Ethan won't cheat anymore. Yes, let's live happily as a family of 4 again. I said no. If you continue to be persistent, I will call the police. My ex-husband and former in-laws tried to continue their plea, but as I repeated, I will call the police. They eventually left dejectedly. They were a truly unbelievable family. After that, I received a couple more calls from my ex-husband begging for reconciliation, but of course, I declined. I don't know what happened to my ex-husband and his parents. I don't even want to know anymore. But as I've continued working alone at home as a trader, I've begun to feel like I want someone around. I consulted with my friend Lily, and she offered to introduce me to someone. Tomorrow, I have a meeting arranged with Lily and this man. I am looking forward to this new encounter.